Okie dokie. What's up, guys? How's it going, everybody? Kokaloo, OBGG, what's up, guys? I see you in chat. Thanks for the follow. How are y'all doing tonight? Nick, don't leave me. What's up, Zachary? How you doing, buddy? Oh, I like twisted my ankle running earlier tonight. How are y'all doing today? You guys having a good week? It's been a minute since I've been streaming. I'm making a glorious return, though. We'll have some fun with this, guys. I haven't streamed in quite some time. I'm going to be picking it back up. I had a couple of certifications to do for work. It's been busy. And so now, hopefully it won't be as busy. Got some exciting stuff on the horizon. I'm hoping to be bringing you guys some more consistent content. Let's go ahead and turn this music down. All right, let's see here. Not that far. Hey, Chameleon, what's going on, guys? The elite of the elite. I like that name. We're going to be taking a look at the elite of the elite for keyboards tonight. Who's Corsa? I don't know. Just some fucking guy. Just some weird dude. What's up, Duck Boy? Is it? Man, crazy. There's Jax. What's up, Jax? Thanks for the 11th month, dude. I love you too, dude. Yuri's up in chat. What's going on, man? Thanks for the follow, my dude. Appreciate you. So yeah, so tonight we are gonna get right into it, guys. So I've got an OTD 360Corsa. I'm gonna be building up for a client. This thing has got a pretty good lineage on it. We're like 99.9% certain this thing is real. And you know, in the world of keyboards, you can't get much more certain than that. The board was built by a Korean back in the day, and has been sitting in a closet for some time. So you know, it needs a little bit of loving. We're gonna be desoldering it tonight. We're gonna go over the craziness that was built into this board, some old school, straight old school techniques on this thing. So, dude, I know, right? We need to clean that closet out. See what else we can find in there. If it's just the Corsa or if there's other crazy stuff in there. All right, let me go ahead. I'm gonna do a little bit of a playlist change here. Let's see here. Because this is some cut. It's like straight up like 80s parachute pants mix. All right, get rid of that. Let's play this. So Yuri, thank you so much for the 100 bits. Vaughn as well for the 100 bits. Thank you so much, you guys. I appreciate you. Jax building the HBCP. Is that the $5,000? The $5,000 HBCP? Ooh. So juicy. Claudius, I see you in chat, dude. What's going on, buddy? Can't hear, but you'll be watching. That's what I'm talking about. Nice, man. Good to see you, buddy. So I've got people in. All right. So yeah, so let's get into it, guys. Let's take a look at this thing. Oh, and real quick too, I probably should have tested this before I went live. Let's see if my overhead camera is working. Hold on one second. Cancel. Oh man, I need to plug this thing back in. Hold on one second, guys. I did some cable management of all the cameras the other day. The overhead camera seems to have been dislodged. Oh man, what is this? There's a level 1 hype train? What is this? We've got 3 minutes. We're at 81% to get to level 2? Man, that's what I'm talking about. All right, let's see here. 4.5K, that's what I'm talking about. Hey, we're 100%. We made it to level 2. Salt Rock Lamp with the Twitch Prime sub. Hype train. There we go. Pogs in chat. What's up, guys? Thanks, Jax, for the 100 bits too, man. I love you guys. Man. Keyboard community's got some high rollers in it now. You guys are just throwing money away at me. Man, what did everyone win the lottery? I don't think anything sells for less than 2 G's these days. All right, let's see here. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. All right, I want to see if I got this working here. Oh, it's close, baby. There it is. Oh man, all your glorious donations. It's brought us multiple camera angles. There we go. What up? The hype is real. Level 2 hype train. We're at 17% towards level 3. That's what I'm talking about. Twitch Prime is free. Well, yeah, I guess you didn't throw any money away then. Everyone's flipping boards. You got extra money to blow. That's what I'm talking about. Throw it my way. I'm poor, I don't sell anything. All right, I'm not gonna draw this thing out, guys. Let's cut right into the juiciness here. So, man, any bespoke board, I guess, has to be in a bespoke case, right? We've got, of course, the Teha type zipper. 79 bits, oh, so close. We couldn't have made it to 69. I appreciate you, Zach, thanks so much, buddy. Boom. Ooh, ooh. All right. So, so among the things we'll be doing with this, we are going to be swapping this cable. We have a OG G80 cable coming for this board. It is not here yet, but that's why I kind of had like build stream 1 of who knows how many for this board. We'll hope to get this thing here done soon, but tonight we're gonna do a couple preliminary typing tests. My thought I will do a couple before typing tests, and then we'll desolder, and I'll show you guys this crazy PCB. So I've never seen this cable before. It's labeled, hello, focus. There we go. It's labeled DK. So this was built in Korea back in 2015. And so that's a good question. Yeah, so right, exactly. I mean, there's got to be a PS2 to USB controller on it, obviously, in order for that to work. This board was originally built with PS2 PCB. So this board gets the glove treatment. I don't have the crazy white glove treatment, but you know, these gloves are pretty new. And let me know, guys, too, if music volume is good, if you can hear everything okay. I can adjust if needed. All right, but yeah, so we'll move this out of the way. Oh, cancel that. I'm deleting things in the background. What in the world? No, cancel. Move this keyboard back a little bit more. There it is. The OTD 360 Corsa. Hey, what's up, Wix? Good to see you, buddy. Haven't seen you in a minute, man. Yeah, I know. I've been off in Neverland. I need to get back on my game here. I was mentioning earlier that I haven't streamed in so long just because I was doing a work recertification. Now that that is done, I am back, baby. Stressful there right around the holidays for a little bit. Man, we received a level 1 hype train emote. That's what I'm talking about. Hooray. Man, thanks you guys. I appreciate that. Look at that. I don't even know what that is. Some sort of crazy... Who knows? Whatever. I'm not even gonna try. All right, so there it is. There's the 360 Corsa. It's got the red plate. I don't know if you guys can see that. This is a client sport, and so yeah, we'll be rebuilding this thing, having some fun with it. It has got quite a crazy build. Take a look at this, guys. Look at this escape key. This escape key has got not 1, not 2, but 3 LEDs on it. That's also a high rose cap, so that keycap or that switch itself is a decent amount of money. There's a couple of high rose on here. We got a high rose on the escape key, scroll lock, and caps lock key. So it's pretty absurd. This LED is actually, so get this, that is an LED combined like with copper tape. The copper tape is custom cut around the top of the switch and then goes down to what I'm assuming is the diode, and then wait until you guys see the PCB wiring on this thing. It is pretty crazy. It is pretty gnarly. And then yeah, there's another high rose with an LED right back here on this guy. And then the other one is on the caps lock, as I mentioned. But yeah, really, really good quality. Let's take a look at this thing. As you guys can see, the anodization on this thing is perfect. We're not part of the dent gang with this one. What up, ADX? How you doing, buddy? I see you in chat, man. Good to see you, guy. Yep, not part of the dent gang on this one. At least not yet, not before I do a drop test on it. We got that silver apple anodization. Quite a good look. The seams aren't half bad on this guy either. For silver, for as far as silver goes, that's about as close to perfect as you're gonna get. Definitely part of the flex gang, that is for sure. Love that 360 Corsa side with that cut-in right there. That beveled cut-in, you can see it right there a little better. So let's take a look at the weight. As I mentioned, we're dropping keycaps out of here because those high-rose caps have no tolerance. It's been sitting in that closet a little bit. I like it. I love a little bit of distress on the weight. I think it makes the board look even better. But that is what we're looking at. 360 Corsa, powered by OTD. Is this Bill's board? No, negative. Nope, nope, nope. This is a board for another client of mine that I'm building for. So yeah, so what we're gonna do here tonight, a couple things. and I'll explain to you guys, I'm sure a couple times as well, the overall process that we're going to be going through with this board, what we're going to be doing. This board was built up with some nice, this is an OTD Daredevil. This board was built up with some nice some G80 vintage blacks. I'm not certain the date code on them, so I apologize there. It's kind of hard to track down the lineages of these boards, but this board, from what we know, was built by a Korean back in 2015 and has sit in the guy's closet for quite some time. Here, let me go ahead and plug her in. Let's see here. We don't need... Yes, we can go ahead all the way over here. See if I can find a USB port to plug it into. So as I mentioned, right off the bat, we are going to be, do I have it connected? Right off the bat, we are going to be, I was just wearing the glove so I didn't get my fingerprints all over the weight. We are going to be putting a different cable on this. We're going to be putting an original G80 cable on this guy. We'll be modding it with some same switches. We'll be using these G80 vintage blacks. I think they're a great feeling switch, but they just need some loving. They were lubed in the old school manner with probably some like 105 or maybe, who knows, hard to tell, some earlier Crytox. So they just need they need spring swap as well. That's right. Got to bring it up to the current spec. And we have to fix the stabilizers. So let's go ahead into switch hitter here. And you guys can see with me that this is indeed a working OTD. And you know what? Here we go. Let the games begin with the awesome sounds. Pause this. And here you guys go. We'll have that at, there we go, that should be loud enough. So you can see the LED is on now. Take a look at this escape key. all those LEDs. So and here's why we're going to be showing it some love. Take a listen. You guys can hear the rattle in the stabilizers. Not something we're going for, but a working PCB nonetheless. And I'm gonna do a couple typing tests with it, guys. We'll do kind of like a before and after with this board. That's the OG rattle, baby. Don't mess it up. No. So here's my goal with this thing. I don't want to overly mod much of anything on it. I want to keep the feel of the switches and everything pretty darn close to stock as I can. So I really kind of maintain the feel of these nicer vintage blacks. So that's a goal there. And then, yeah, let's go ahead and hear what these sound like. Ooh. Oh man, lots of guesses in chat who this one is. The clack is so clean. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I mean the switches are in fairly good shape. You hit the scroll lock and it just pops right off. There's a high rose for you. This is not Comrade Snipers. Let's see here. So here's a little comparison too, guys, for a couple of different space bars there. So that is why we're going to be lubing the stabilizers and putting a little bit of a better mod on it so you don't get that rattle on them. This was actually built up in a pretty good way. The toothpick mod was completed on these stabilizers. So these OG Cherry PCB mount stabilizers, the builder did know what he was doing there with that. Soldered it actually really well too. Just wait until you guys see this LED project that he did on it. We'll go ahead and get another 10 fast fingers in here. Get one more typing test because man, it just feels so good. Let me go over real quick with you guys too. So one of the things that made the OTD Corsa quite unique is that the PCB used was very, very thin. And so despite it having both an aluminum plate and the PCB there, right, the flex of this build is actually more than you would get on a typical keyboard these days. Really kind of creates for, quite a nice feel. Almost feels, yeah, right, exactly, Wix. Almost feels somewhat similar to a half plate without having, obviously the cuts in the aluminum. And so, it really has a very, very unique, nice feel to it. It instantly reminded me of a board that I had done on a polycarbonate half plate for my Jane. And so it's definitely the OTD Corsa has kind of got the king of top mount. It's kind of been dubbed, and I would say that definitely holds true. It's quite a good feeling board. Yep, exactly right. Yep. So Kibasaurus has got it. I've got difficulty. Yo, what up, Iggy? How's it going, buddy? Yeah, this keyboard would be pretty darn expensive. I don't know what the market is exactly on it because there's not many of these things that change hands, but this one would be up there for sure. Let's go ahead and do another typing test on it before we open it up. Oh, lost my spot. Ooh, beautiful. Yeah, this thing sounds so good. All right. Headset's going back on. Music's starting back up. Let's have some fun. All right. So juicy. Beautiful. I should have somewhere in here. Yep, I do. I've got a mat right over here. What's up, proximity? That's the meme. That's what I was drawing reference to. Yeah, buddy, you got it, man. It's just a super old board, and yep, Wix, you got it as well. Don't wanna get any fingerprints on this beautiful anodization. So let's see here. Can I get? Oh yeah, you guys can kind of see it. You can see the red plate peeking through these keycaps. In person, that's more prominent. Silver case with red plate. So beautiful. Like, mwah. So good. We're gonna lose if I flip this upside down. We're gonna lose our scroll lock. And we're gonna lose this artisan. So I will take that off right now. Here you go, guys. You don't need to see the, but yeah, look at that weight. Oh, so beautiful. I love this thing. So, okay, this is called the OTD 360Corsa. OTD is acronymed for on the desk. It is a old school Korean maker that started making keyboards in, what was the CLS was 2012? Does that sound right? Proximity probably knows, or maybe Kibasaurus. Was it 2011, 2012? When did the first OTD come out? So it's just a really, as it was said in chat, I can't remember who said it, Iggy, but it was just a really old keyboard maker. They no longer make boards. These are limited run productions, and they're just very in demand. And so, yeah, it's just kind of a rare piece of keyboard history, if you will. Can't get a good focus on the weight. There we go. There we go. That looks good. So, yep. And then it just kind of comes down at that point to supply and demand. Just like any other crazy hobby, things are only worth as much as what you crazy sons of bitches are willing to pay for them, and people are willing to pay quite a lot of schmeckles for this keyboard. And so I'm gonna try not to mess it up as I rebuild this thing. This is probably the most expensive keyboard I've worked on. I need to do an extension on the back screws. Yeah, 2009. That sounds about right. So these guys, like, you know, pretty much began and stopped making keyboards before the hobby even really gained as much popularity as it has, quote unquote, the today. Keyboards has definitely picked up in the recent past, but I'd say the hobby still is not too well established. Still a lot of people figuring out what they're doing in the game. There we go. So I have an extension on this screwdriver kit so that I can, basically I'm just trying to drop this in there first, hand thread it, and then unscrew it. There we go. I'm sure that's a good introduction onto OTD. Yeah, was the 356 series, was that the first one that came out, or was it the CLS? The CLS was super limited production run too. I wouldn't be surprised if that was one of the later keyboards they came out with after they had kind of perfected the art. So, but they're all, if I'm not mistaken, too, kind of based on cars. And so, like the original creator, you know, most of the keyboard numbering systems and everything is all kind of based around like old school, like Porsche and, you know, old school, highly desirable cars. Or at least that's how it started, if I'm remembering correctly. All right, guys, so take a look at this. Oh, did I not get every screw? Something feels like I didn't get every screw. Let's see here. Got that one. Yep. Yep, there you go. My halves just might be sticking together because, yeah, all these screws are completely out. Go ahead and put these over here. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, there we go. So as you can see, with a classic old keyboard, you've got a classic crazy amount of customization and bullshittery on the PCB. If you're just tuning in, you guys picked a good time. We are just now going over the craziness that is this 360Corsa PCB. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put the bottom of the case here right on top of the bag. So, a couple things right off the bat. If you guys recall, we had a crazy amount of bullshittery going on with the escape key. It actually uses a magnet wire from the LED panel, which is right there, runs along the length of the PCB here, all the way down and through these through holes here. Those aren't soldered right there, if I'm not mistaken. What is in fact going on is that I believe these wires are ran to the bottom end of this diode on this LED, if I can get it to focus, and then there's copper tape ran from the bottom of those diodes to power the two LEDs that are on the top of the escape key. So, as I mentioned, quite a large amount of bullshittery happening on just even that one LED. The classic OTD symbol, if you ask me, and how I will be continuing this is by having the scroll lock key on the flicker option. So every time you hit any key on these, it'll light up the LED. Hey, Proximity, thanks so much for stopping by, buddy. Always good to see you, dude. And thanks for the link too, man. A lot of good information there, I'm sure. Yeah, I've gone through and I've reviewed myself personally all the old forums and everything on these guys. So I mean, if you're not familiar with PCB design, this day and age, more often than not, you've got, you know, all of these components are internal to the PCB nowadays, or at least smaller. They're not the old school, I can't remember what that's called, the stylizing of those. What are they, resistors, diodes? But the one nice part about the board too is that for caps lock, you don't have any craziness going on there. So the through hole, you can see the 2 through hole pins there for the LED on the caps lock. So I don't have to do any crazy wiring for that. So that's nice. But yeah, let me show you guys. Now that we've got the weight moved, I can probably get a little more dexterity from taking these gloves off. And be a little cooler too. So let me show you what we got going on here with this. So here's the scroll lock. And you can see it's taped down to this LED panel. And I don't know if I'll be able to focus it. Yeah, you can kind of see it there. Do you see that little magnet wire right there? That is what is lighting up the LED on the scroll lock key. So those through holes are completed there, and then there's no trace that goes to that LED panel, which is this white guy here. And so in order to accomplish that, yeah. Right, correct. Yep, that's exactly right. And so the vintage switches had the diodes actually built right into them. So yeah, they absolutely could have. They could have left the diode inside the switch, and then the way it looks then is you almost have this staple component coming out in reverse, and on the inside of the switch, right in here, you would see the diode underneath where that LED is. And so, yep. Pretty cool look at the way these old school boards are ran though. So tonight, here's the goal. As I mentioned, I got a G80 OG cable that's going to be coming in so that we can replace this cable. Once that comes in, we'll do a little bit more modding on that. I'm also going to be, for this cabling here, I'm going to be running some shielded and anchored cable I'll anchor it directly to the PCB. I'm going to be turning up an aid on that. Super User is one of my buddies in the community. He's local, and he's agreed to help me run that. He's got quite a lot of experience with these sorts of things, and so I'm going to trust an expert's deft hands on this more than my own. But yeah, here is the other side of the PCB. I want to be careful that I don't pull this up. Here is the crazy magnet wire that we've got going on the escape key. And you guys can see right there that right above my index finger, that is the magnet wire that's running all the way over to the escape key LED. So there's one underneath through that through hole, which you can probably barely see, and then there's one up top utilizing the through hole that I just showed you there. I just lost my caps lock key, because caps lock is a high rose as well. Oh, sounds so good. But yeah, that thinner PCB, there it is, you can see it. About as thin as a PCB you're gonna find in the keyboard game. So yeah, so let's go ahead and get into it. As I mentioned, tonight we're going to be desoldering. So I've got a little bit of switch modding to do and a little bit of stabilizer tuning. And we will first be required to remove all these switches to get that rolling. Put my mat down so I don't get flux all over my desk. I got the window open tonight, so I'm not going to worry about doing anything with the vacuum. I've got an all but brand new tip on this iron too, so we're going to be rocking and rolling for this thing tonight. I'm going to set my temperature to just about 375 degrees Celsius. So about 700-ish or so degrees Fahrenheit. Oh my goodness. I would love to try a DGE. I think I've only seen a DGE once. And man, oh man, it was beautiful. Absolutely glorious looking board. The anodization quality on it was so good too. I was really, really impressed. All right, so you know what? Actually, we're probably gonna have a better angle on the work I'm doing here tonight if I switch over to this camera. There we go, guys. How's that? There we go. Turn the exposure up a little bit on it. There we go. So the reason I hold it at an angle like this is because this vacuum has this chamber, that clear chamber there at the top. I want gravity to not be working against me, so I'm gonna have the element pull the solder and everything away as I hold the PCB up on this angle like this. That's looking pretty good. So I'm assuming that it's going to make the switch removal a little bit easier as well by having the diodes on the reverse side of the PCB. That way we can probably, I'm going to assume I can probably pull these switches off without having to remove those diodes there on the bottom. You know what? The through hole on this is actually quite small. So that tip might actually be a little bit too large. I believe I have another tip. I do indeed. Yeah, that would probably be better. We'll see. We might swap the tip out on this vacuum. We'll keep going and see how it feels. Oopsie. up again. Once the red light drops, there we go. Floppy PCB indeed. I feel like I've got a little bit of a backup in the chamber here. Oh, huh. I desoldered an entire board the other day, and I completely forgot to empty my vacuum. Hang with me, Jake, for just a couple of seconds here, guys. I'm going to go ahead and empty this. I'll be right back. Alrighty. Yeah, it should make a little bit of a difference. It was a dirty boy. Alright, we're locked and loaded now. Oh yeah, much better. If I say that and this one decides it doesn't want to do anything. Nope, we're still having an issue somewhere here. Something is not pulling through. Oh yeah, cool. I've got solder just kind of like dribbling there. That's brilliant. Need a piece of solder just chilling. Why in the world is giving me difficulty? A couple more pieces of solder that are just kind of flaking off there. Seem to have been stuck in the barrel. Okay. Man, we'll need to replace the filter here soon. Filter in the back has seen better days of this gun. We should be able to make it through here though. Alright. Man, oh man. There we go. Yeah, I'm not pleased with the section I'm getting on this, and so I've already kind of identified that one of these components might need to be swapped out. So I'm going to swap a component out here real quick. Put that right in there. And then we'll put this tip on. Looks good there. One more cleaning here should do it. All right. Let's try this again. Much better. Having the tolerance right on this, using a different attachment, makes all the difference in the world. Yep, looking much better. This guy needs a little bit of love. There we go, that cleaned up nicely. This guy needs a little love. There we go. All right, a little bit of technical difficulties right off the bat, but we're back on the right track. Hopefully. Come on. Stay with me here, PCB. Why did this one have difficulty? worked that time. Seems like all the other ones were just fine. Not to that little guy. Ooh. That pad right there is going to need some love. So once I get this thing done too, we're going to wipe this whole PCB down and retouch it with a good amount of flux, so that when we go to solder switches back onto it, that we don't have any issues with it. So the top row is just about done here. I see a couple of hot spots that still kind of concern me, where we might not have a perfect pull of all the solder out of there, but we'll return to that if we have issues. Vacuum is doing a pretty good job now. Much better. Like more of the solder that's in the switch doesn't want to come out. Is it me or is it the through hole? it's me. Nope, it's not me. There we go. There we go. Now we're good. I think this is the slowest I've like ever desoldered a PCB. I think what I'm probably should just do is get a once over on everything. And then for issues, I'll return to them. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I just want to test real quick too. This one looks pretty darn close to perfect. Let's take the tilde out. I just want to test it and see if we are sitting pretty here after this initial desolder of the two main through hole pins. If we're sitting good, or if we'll need to potentially desolder anything additional. Let's see here. Oof. It's a tight tolerance there. I think we'll be able to get it better with this one. Just barely can get it back there. Yep, we're looking good. So there's our switches there. Yep, the G80. Hello. Is my camera not on autofocus tonight? Like, what is this guy doing? Huh, I guess it's not. There we go. It should be on autofocus. I'm not sure why it's not. All right, so but yeah, we're good. We're rolling here. We are rolling right along, my friends. smallest through hole pin. I think the switch broke. Did it get broken or did it bend? I can't tell. No, it looks like the pin just bent on it. I think I can actually get it bent back up properly with this. No, we need a little bit more precise of a tool. Bend this guy back right up. There we go. Still have some solder on the other side of it too. Now that the through hole pin is good, we should be able to get to it a little better. There he is. What's up, Flippy? How you doing, buddy? I see you in chat, my dude. Chat's been quiet for a couple minutes. Are you guys alive? Good, man. Glad to hear it. I too am good. We're getting to work on some cool keyboards here tonight. Beautiful. The guy who originally soldered this did a pretty good job. I'm pretty impressed with the soldering work. Today is your Friday. That's what I'm talking about. I've got a pretty good day lined up tomorrow myself. It's not my Friday, but I'll be remote getting some training done at home tomorrow. So always nice way to mix up the week a little bit. Yeah, so we've got a couple really nice ones on the horizon. I've got a number 2 Rev 1 coming up next week. I should be taking inventory of that probably here at the middle to tail end of this week, so tomorrow to Friday, and then I'll either queue that up for a build over the weekend, or depending upon how scheduling goes, around this time next week. And then I've got some other stuff in the hopper that's still working out, but definitely things that are coming through here right after that. I know the number 2 Rev 1 is going to be the next build that we have a full build for. So the way this one's going to work, to answer the question you haven't asked yet, is I am going to, for these switches, the ones that need it, because not all of them are as consistently good as others, I'm going to ultrasonic and lube them up. And I'm going to tune some stabilizers, swap out the cable, do a modification here on the LED wires so that we don't have this magnet wire and god-awful tape just spanning across the entirety of the board. And yeah, we're just kind of going to take our time with this one. So this is a client I built a couple boards for, and he's instructed me to kind of just treat this like it's my own. So I'm going to do exactly that. I'm just going to take my time with it and make sure it's built up with perfection. The lube that I will use for this is undecided at the moment. I think we're going to do 205 G0. And I'm going to tune up one or two of the less consistently good ones like that. And then I'm just going to compare them side by side with what I see on the ones that were pretty good. If they're pretty close to the same, and not pretty close, since I'm going to treat it like it's my build. If they're the same, essentially, and feel fantastic and are pretty damn good, I'm going to leave the ones that are good just as they are. But I'd say there's at least a pretty good chance that I'm going to ultrasonic all of these switches at least once, if not a couple times. Re-lube them. Spring swap them. And put them all back together. We'll probably keep some consistency here with the high-row switches that are in here. Either that, or maybe we'll put a couple Nixies or something into them instead of the high-rows, because the high-rows are kind of a pain in the butt with the stems. I don't know. I haven't decided yet on that part. But either way, at the end of the day, I hope to have this thing sounding as perfect as it looks. And that starts by me taking these switches off. So what about you guys? Anyone have any cool keyboard projects coming up on the horizon? I always love to hear what other people have got working. It's always around the end of the desoldering that my vacuum just starts working perfectly. Why is that? Why is that? Why does it take me an entire board to get this thing working right? Fairly problem. I just need to get people to send me more boards to desolder. Turn that up a little bit. There we go. Alrighty. Nice. Yeah, no, desoldering is not fun with a with either a cheap gun or the pump. Trust me, I've done a couple of pump desoldering sessions, and those are quite the opposite of fun, in fact. Not fun indeed. Yeah, these are G80 vintage blacks. I'm not sure on the date code, but if I had to guess, they're probably somewhere in that like A through G date code range. They're going to be a pretty high quality. Here, you know what we're going to do real quick, guys? We're going to go ahead and remove the top case here. Vintage cherry blacks are completely different than Holy Pandas. Totally different switch. So the newer cherry retooled switches are pretty good. So there's the gone piece right there up on top. Here's also the inside of our case here. Really pretty much just perfection through and through, guys. Anodization quality is absolutely top marks on this. It's an absolutely beautiful case. Client has got no reason to not be completely pleased with the quality of this board. Put that right back on top of the bubble wrap. And yeah, let's go ahead and continue here. Yeah, you can see on the top of this thing too. Yeah, that's where that magnet wire from the crazy LED mod, that thing is going up and you can see it right there touching that copper tape. So a pretty wild mod there for sure. So yes, I'm sorry, Nanu, getting back to your question though. Holy Pandas are a very bumpy tactile switch, whereas Cherry Blacks are a very smooth linear switch, especially vintage Cherry Blacks. The retooleds are pretty good though too. Haven't had many issues with those. Depends on the batch of those you get. Some retools are better than other. Is Cherry getting a bad rap these days? I kind of agree. You know, there's too much inconsistency coming out of the Cherry production lines, and so, you know, because of that, it's kind of hard to tell what you're going to get. Whenever I order Cherry retooled blacks, I get shipments of about 500 of them, just because I don't know if they're going to be really good or really bad, and I can't depend upon my next shipment being the exact same as what I just would have ordered, you know, like a week before. And so therefore, when I purchase them, I purchase in bulk. And if I get a great set of switches, typically I'll have 500 good switches. And then the potential though is that I get 500 shitty switches. But whenever I've ordered the retooleds, it's been off of Arrow, and that website comes in pretty cheap in terms of switch costs, so I don't necessarily mind. I generally pay about 25 to 30 cents a switch when I order them in that bulk. And so, you know, do the math. It's not too bad. So there's the classic linear gray on the space bar. That's a pretty classic Korean building technique to put a linear gray on a vintage black build. It's a heavier switch. And there we go, guys. Strip down. And just about 100% desoldered. I'm sure we'll probably run into a couple onesie twosies here and there that we need to help a little bit. But for the most part, these should be ready to go. I'm going to use this. Oh boy. That switch is flying all over the place. The orange switches are called Hyros. They are, I don't know if they're actually Cherry branded. They are. They're Cherry branded switches. Hyros switches are really, really rare. They're made in smaller batches, keyboards, very old vintage boards. Taking switches out without bending the pins, huh? I generally don't have problems with the pins. I just, with this board especially, since I'm nervous about the PCB and the plate, I just don't want to be scratching the plate up. And I also want to ensure that I'm not pulling any pads through, because this would not be an easy PCB to replace. It'd be pretty expensive for me to have to replace this thing. So the last thing I want to do is damage it in any way. So I'm moving slower than I normally would on a personal build of mine. This Rama switch puller works pretty well, but it bends really easily. But I found more instances than not, if I'm bending it, I'm probably holding too hard onto the switch, and I should probably just look into desoldering it a little bit more so that I have a nice easy pull through. I don't know what metal this is. It doesn't say on there. The only labeling that's on it is this guy right here. Hello. Focus on my hands, please. Where do I have my focus point? There we go. RIP. There we go. That's the only labeling that's on it, so I'm not 100% certain A110, A240, 130054. It's made from stainless steel on his website. Cool. There we go. Now you know. So there's the linear gray. Oh, and this is funny. On the right side of the spacebar, there's a dip switch, which I assume is probably on this PCB the only way you can control your key mapping, and I would assume that that probably changes maybe like control and caps locks. I'm not 100% certain what that actually accomplishes. I'll have to do some testing with that one to figure that out. That's pretty cool. These earlier PCBs didn't really have a firmware that you could flash too easily, and so, if at all, I think it uses Acon, if I'm not mistaken, the Acon firmware, which I've got zero experience with, so we'll have fun with mapping on this. Yeah, I wonder, the one thing I want to find out, Kiwasaurus, maybe you know this, I want to find out how you, oh Jesus, where did that switch go? Oh, there it is. I want to find out how you get the flicker effect on the scroll lock. Do you have any idea how that's done? I was hoping I would see like a switch somewhere around it. Unless I just have to bridge a couple of different pins, I'm not 100% certain how that's accomplished. Ah, so then maybe that's it. Maybe the gun controller is what allows me to take care of it. Yeah, it's an interesting controller. It actually has some labeling here on it. It says Numlock P14, Caps Lock P15, Scroll Lock P18. So he has like specific labels on the pads for those, on the controller for those. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do some more research into that for sure. It's kind of goes hand in hand with these older keyboards. You have to be a little bit of a detective to figure out what's going on with them. So here we are, just giving these switches a wiggle one at a time. The ones that come out easy here on the first go round, fantastic. The ones that give me any difficulty at all, I'm just gonna, that's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking, Cubosaurus. It would be fantastic if he's got them labeled up on top. It would be fantastic if he had these pads numbered. He does not, and so I'm guessing the orientation, oh yeah, here we go. 1 through 20. 1 through 20. And then 21 up top through 40. So the, I guess the way he has the, I wonder if the indicators are on, I mean it says P14, 15, and 18. So that would be 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, and 15. So yeah, it's those two guys and then that guy. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. We'll do some more research in this thing. Definitely pleased to see the GON controller on it though. It's definitely a nice addition for sure. Having any ability to map it is going to be a bonus. Alright, let's switch it back over to this guy. This switch puller right here is definitely more resilient. Does not give nearly as much difficulty. This one just, you can see it just bends. Bends and warps a little bit too easily. Yeah, because these are coming out. And yeah, you absolutely could. If you had a set of vintage black switches with the through hole, you can see on the top here, you can see that you'd be able to just solder those right in, just as you would on a G80 PCB, which is pretty cool. Although I can't imagine there'd be too many people out there switch modding vintage blacks from a G80 and then taking the time to put those diodes right back in the switch. It's a much easier method for sure to have all the diodes soldered onto the bottom like it's done here. Since I'm pulling these with a little more fervor, let's go through here and just make sure. Yeah, these all look pretty. This one looks like it's got some trouble on it. Heat my vacuum back up. That should be good. Good, good. Should be good. Japanese horror writer with the 1,000 bits. Thank you very much, my friend. I appreciate you. You're too kind. You guys are awesome. I appreciate y'all. How are you doing tonight, my friend? It's been a while. I haven't seen you in here in a little bit. Although, then again, I haven't been streaming too frequently myself, so part of that is onus on me. I was saying earlier in chat that I'd been taken off from streaming for a couple of weeks now since I had to get a recertification done for work. So that and the holidays, I was definitely stressed. I got good news. I was able to get my recertification done. I got it complete literally the day before my certification expired. So it was definitely a bit of a stressful week, that one. And that came right at the tail end of the Christmas holiday and New Year's and everything else. And so, man, it was not a fun time to be me, but we got it done. So here we are back at it again. Streaming keyboard content. The recertifications I needed were my range of Cisco certs. I've got a fair amount of associate level certs, and then also I hold a couple of different professional level certifications, which each of those require 3 tests unless you build them on top of each other. And so I had a few of those that were building. I didn't want to have those expire because then I would have had to take a multitude of tests to get them back. My expiration date was on January 8th. All of the tests are changed to a new format, which I didn't want to have to study for, on February 28th. So I would have expired before then anyways. But I got my recertification done on January 7th. I actually took one test and I failed it. I had difficulty with one test the first time around, and then I took a significantly easier test that would also recertify all of them and passed that. So, got it all done. Yeah, I'm a network engineer by trade, and I don't have a computer science degree or anything, and so I definitely like holding those certifications to maintain that. starting to get to the point in my career where I think I could get away with not maintaining those certs. I've been doing this for, I mean, hell, by the time my certification comes around again in another 3 years, because that's how long each of those lasts, and they're all updated since I updated one of them this past time, I will probably, I think I'll have been in the business for 15 years. So I might just next time around say, screw them, I don't need it anymore. Feeling pretty comfortable in my knowledge and experience, but I won't feel the need to get those again. All right, yeah, I knew I had lost one in my lap. Where did it go? There it is, it's on the floor now. All righty. That one right there is being stubborn. This puller, because of this rubber coating on it, it also starts to get a little after a bit. So we'll put our gloves on to be able to get a little bit of a better grip on it. I'm going to purposefully leave that high rose in there because I'm fairly certain I did not do the LED for that yet. That guy's giving me a little bit of problem. I'm still kind of following the format that if I have any difficulty pulling these things out, I'm going to go ahead and just take another look and touch up on the bottom of them again. Last thing I want to do, as I mentioned, is pull a pad through this PCB. This thing is so old that the likelihood of that is certainly a higher percentage than it would be on one of these newer PCBs. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've been with the company I'm with currently for coming up on 4 years now too, which is one of the longer tenures I've been with any one company. I generally change jobs after I complete the project I was brought on to work. And the company I'm with currently just has a multitude of projects constantly coming in and out. So they have a lot of work for me at all times, which is great. It gives me that extra little bit of stability. So who knows? I mean, the other venue is I just stay with them and I never have to look for another job again. We'll see. Time will tell. But anyways, in the meantime, because those certifications are done and I'm a happy camper, we're back to keyboard streaming. I keep threatening that I'm going to get this on a weekly basis, and I'm going to keep following my Tuesday night schedule. I promise, guys, at some point I will stream 2 Tuesdays in a row. I'd say there's a fairly good likelihood of it because we've got another build already queued up for next week with a number 2 Rev 1, so we'll have some fun with that build as well. That build will be a little more close to what I usually do, which is build and complete a complete build in one sitting. This one we just have so much work to do on it, and I just also wanted to show it off a little bit. We're going to take our time with it. Whoa, hello. Switch flying. All right. See how these look. That one might give me issues. One in might give me issues. That guy right there might be a problem. Let's see. Yep, that's a problem. That one was nice. There was another one that was like maybe around here. That might be an issue. That one was nice. That one was nice. Wiggle, wiggle. If they come out, Gucci. If they don't, we'll touch them back up again. Okay. These are the ones that look like they need to be touched back up again. These 2, 3 should be okay. I don't know why those guys would be having issues. I either look, play video games, or see if anyone has a build on Twitch. Usually ends the day for me that way. Yeah, awesome, man. Where do you get a hold of vintage blacks? So you can find them through, there are some people, there's some users in the community who will collect a bunch of vintage PCBs, and they will harvest all of the vintage blacks from those PCBs and then sell them as loose switches. You can find those sellers more times than not on the mech market side of Reddit, or the other route you can go is you can hop on eBay or Electronic Shopper and find PCBs yourself and then do the desoldering work yourself as well. You can generally find people selling the loose switches for about the same price as you would find the person that is looking to excuse me. You can generally, what I'm getting at, what I'm trying to get at least, is that you generally find the person selling loose switches for the same price as the person selling the whole PCB. So you're generally not, unless you want the case from the older computer keyboard and the PCB from the older computer keyboard, which unless you're planning on making a build with that, why would you? You're generally better off just finding somebody who's harvesting the switches and selling them loose on Reddit, because they'll be around the same price. You'll pay a little bit of a premium to have them desolder them for you, but for the most part, same price. If not pretty close to it. And see some of these too, the switch films just have kind of come apart on us, and so we'll have to do some of these guys just because of that. There we go. There we go. There we go. Beautiful. Not there yet. Beautiful. 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 Not there yet. Beautiful. Beautiful. Not there yet. Let's see here. Yeah, I see an issue with this guy. Yeah, absolutely, man. Good luck in the hunt. Vintage blacks can be a little harder to find. To give you a little bit more information about them too, vintage blacks are probably the most commonly found in the Wise vintage black variant. Those have a manufacture date of 19... Oh, hello. Just flung that one. There it is. Those have a manufacture date, if I'm not mistaken, of 1986. All of them are dated 1986. The date code on the Wise vintage black, though, actually ranges pretty wildly all the way up to like 1994, if I'm not mistaken. And so, don't be fooled by someone who's saying, I've got, 100, 1986 vintage Wise blacks. They could be from later rounds. It's kind of hard to tell unless you're, unless they've got a good PCB that they can show you the stickers on. And I don't even know if the Wise variants have good date codes. That one flung away from me too. All right, there we go. That's it though. I'm not going to worry about the high rows right now because those will have LEDs in them. Hold on one second, guys. Let's do this. Let's turn this off. Let's go ahead and grab this switch that we flung across the office. And let's go ahead and test. Let's test our PCB to see how we're looking there. See if we have any Pepe hands moments here with the PCB being busted now that I desoldered it. Hopefully that won't be the case. Alright, that's turned off. We'll bring our cable around here. Plug that guy in. Yeah, that's a good sign. The LEDs are working. Alright, let's go ahead. Yeah, that's the one, Daredevil. If you give me a second, I'll show you a close-up on it too. I'm just going to do a quick switch hitter here, guys, on this PCB to see if we're all good, which it's looking like we are indeed. Yeah, bear with me for just a second, Daredevil. It is a really wild LED effect that they have on it. You can see there's the 1, 2, 3 LEDs on the escape. F4, F3, F2, F1. Oh, baby. So far, so good. Man, lots of cutouts on the plate. Lots of cutouts. Thin PCB. This thing is built to be flexy. And I love it. That one looked a little rough. Looks like it's just a little bit of flux there. That one's okay. Absolutely beautiful. Keep lighting up for me, switches. Or I should say pads. Keep lighten up. That is exactly what I want to see. Brilliant. All right, let's go ahead and turn her around here. Here is scroll lock. There's caps. There's escape. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. All right, Daredevil. Yeah, let me show you this thing, man. Let me show you a close-up. Copper tape is indeed a thing. Who would have thought? Pretty wild, right? All right. So take a look at this. First of all, let me show you what we got going on back here. So, you can't really see it right now, but focus, please. Hello. Focus, camera. There we go. All right. So, underneath here, we've got the LED strip. We've got this crazy little, I can't hardly show it to you, magnet wire that's hooked up to the LEDs. This is then taped down to what I'm assuming, yeah, so it doesn't matter that this is actually shielded wire, this magnet wire, so we don't have to worry about these leads crossing, which they absolutely are. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, I'm trying to get a good light on it. These magnet wires are all crossed. And so you can see right there, especially, that's a lot easier to see. And so the basically though, the ground and then the load for these LEDs is just ran lengthwise down the board. You've got, should be 4. Yep, 1, 2, 3, 4. You've got a ground and 3 lines for the 3 different LEDs. And yeah, they're all ran to the points here on the strip. They go all the way down the length of the board. And I'm going to put this down, back down, kind of somewhat holding it down. I'm going to be replacing all this wiring with actual shielded, anchored wire to make it look a lot nicer. But they go all the way down to right here. They're not soldered to this point. There's a little metal through hole there. They're not soldered to that point. They actually just go all the way through. And you can see, if my camera focuses, hello? Focus on my hand, focus on my hand. Come on, come on. There we go. It keeps focusing on the keyboard. Sorry, dude. The magnet wire is going through there and up into the copper, up into this copper tape here. So take a look at that copper tape. That copper tape right there. And then the magnet wire goes through to the back of it. It's going through to that side right there. It touches the left side of the LED. The right side of the LED then connects up in line to the next LED over, this guy, the one to the right. And then that one then bridges the connection through this copper tape, this custom cut copper tape, across and down the switch there. And I'm assuming that it's connected to the diodes within the LED on the bottom portion of the switch into the left or right of that LED, and then the ground comes back up through this second hole underneath the PCB, that second hole right there, and then runs the length of the board again all the way down to the LED pad. So, yeah, it's pretty nutty the way they've got this thing ran currently. So they're running down from the USB port and soldered onto the tape on the housing. Well, yes. So they're running from this LED strip down to the first LED in the line there, and then the combination of the copper tape and the LED to LED connections basically connect it all up in a single circuit, and so it goes left LED, right LED, LED, whatever, 1 millimeter, whatever it is, diode guy there, and then all the way back up in through that bottom hole there. You see how there's 2 through holes, one there, and then one that's kind of underneath right there. So it's connecting up all the way through there, and then runs back the length of the PCB up to the ground. So the tape and the magnet wire combo there is pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy and over the top. So yeah, definitely a pretty wild modification there for sure. So anyways, with all that said here, guys, I'm going to show off one more time. For those of you that are tuning in a little later, here is the back of the case that we're going to be working with here. It's got that beautiful brass weight, beautiful anodization, that apple silver anode, and yeah, here's the top portion. With that ever so lovely 360Corsa engraved there on top. The distinct lack of the fake OTD on the bottom. This is the real deal here, guys. And we've got the crazy PCB and plate to prove it, with the absurd GON chip and everything. So I think the only thing this board is missing is the signature from GON, notating that he was the one who built it. So I'll talk to my client, see if they don't mind. After I put my personal touch on this thing, maybe I'll put my signature on the bottom of the PCB. It can be the Max F Signature Series build. So anyways, guys, thanks so much for tuning in tonight. It was an absolute pleasure. I hope you guys have a fantastic week. Enjoy your weekend, and I will hope to be live again next same time, same place, Tuesday night. I'm going to start sometime around 8 to 9 p.m. Again, you guys have a lovely week, and peace out, nerds. We'll see you guys next time.